What's up, Royal Family? Today we're going to be checking out a crossover that I never knew existed, and I really wish I knew that it existed when I was a kid, because I would be rich, famous, and glorious. Three things that I have never really wanted to be, but I would have been those three things had I known about this content that you guys will discover in this video. However, I have noticed lately that I am putting on some weight, right? So every like that this video gets, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Let's say 10 push-ups. We'll start off with 10 push-ups for every like, and I need you guys to hold me to that. So hit the like button. If you're not a member of the Royal Family, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and come jump in, join us in Discord. There's a lot of fun stuff going on, but let's get into today's video.
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Two shonen anime juggernauts that dominated
absolutely,
the US.
Absolutely. I don't think you guys understand how big these shows absolutely were. I was a nerd in middle school when Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon were out. I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. As a matter of fact, someone stole my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, right? And it hurt me so much because I'd spent so much money on collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. It was something that I held deep into my heart and hurt so much when someone did that to me. But these shows were absolutely massive, and I never wanted to see a crossover until now. I didn't even
the early 2000s. We've all seen the memes posted for nostalgia clout, but it's interesting there's always been a desire to either pit these two against each other or have them cross over in some way. While we've never really gotten anything
Ash
technically
would win for
official,
sure.
There is one weird thing I want to talk about. So let me tell you about Kids WB. This was a programming block in the United States that aired all the good stuff owned by Warner Brothers on Saturday mornings. Looney Tunes, Batman, Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans, and so much more. But most notably, they aired anime dubbed by 4Kids Entertainment, like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! While nowadays some fans will look back on 4Kids dubs with disdain, some credit should be given for introducing us to these shows at all. Anyway, this is where both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Aired alongside each other from 2001 to 2006. And this wasn't just a television block with a lot of shows. Kids WB would often air crossover commercials and have themed weekends, where characters were cut out of their respective shows and brought together, often with original voice acting. Cartoon Network also did this with their Cartoon Fridays block and their CN City bumpers. But I will argue that Kids WB did it better because some of these are the most unhinged commercials I've ever seen.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember where and what channel I watched Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! But I feel like it was Cartoon Network, but I really don't remember Kids WB. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
These were wacky, but the fact that all of this effort was put in with the editing, the backgrounds, 3D assets, and again, the voice actors really made them something special. It all took place on a cartoon-styled version of the Warner Brothers studio backlot. I assume this implies that all of these characters exist outside of their respective shows as actors and film everything here. Either way, this is a pretty genius idea as a setup, because you can also have these kids just coming in from live action and having fun here as well. I have talked about some of these in the past in themed Christmas videos, but why not take a look at a few that bring Ash and Yugi a little closer together. One fine summer, we had the privilege of watching the Way Out of the Way road trip, where characters from Kids WB were split into 3 groups and traveled across the United States to explore some landmarks. Seeing all these big names inside the Mystery Machine is crazy enough, but it turns out there was even a sweepstakes, and it appears that one of the prizes was a t-shirt themed after the Way Out of the Way road trip.
That'd be pretty cool,
commercials
though. That
are
would
so
be really
old, the exact design is a little hard to make out, but it looks like Yugi is here on the left, and if he's there, I would assume either Ash or Pikachu are there as well. Let me know if you can make them out. If they are, then that makes this an officially licensed crossover t-shirt. The real question is, who won any of these, and do they still have it? Most of the road trip commercials are just the characters interacting with whatever landmark they come across, but we do get to see some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters together, like Joey and Pichu of all characters. Send the screenshot to a friend and see what they say. Ash and Yugi each have their own short bumpers.
You're watching the Kids WB Way Out of the Way road trip. You're watching the Kids WB Way Out of the Way road trip.
I wonder if those are the original voice
There was also
actors.
the Turkey Day Food Fling, which had characters divided into 2 teams.
They sound
one
very
of heroes
different.
and the other of villains. The Crunch Bunch featured both Ash and Yugi, while the Mighty Mashers had Jesse, James, and Kaiba. Each segment just had them launching gross food in weird ways, and while it's a fun time, the focus is really on the wacky shenanigans of everybody all together. There isn't a whole lot specifically with the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh characters. There was also of course the Holiday Sock Party, which like I said I discussed in a video, but once again it contains numerous segments with the entire cast of Kids WB, with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh characters appearing together a handful of times. Specifically at one point, Ash is watching a duel between the Sock, which was a running character, and Kaiba. But now we can move on to the events focused around Yu-Gi-Oh!
Probably the
like
Sock,
Yugi's Tips and Tricks training
sucks.
camp.
Do you want to learn how to duel? Yeah! Good, because now's your chance in my Duelin' Tips and Tricks training camp. For one entire Saturday, my camp counselor
I could have
will be
used this as a
revealing some
kid.
of the game's best strategies, such as when to play a trap card, how to read your opponent's mind, or how to style your hair. Let me help you with that. There you go.
I do like that. I do like that
All
style.
will be revealed.
That looked good on
So
Shaggy.
don't miss Yugi's Duelin' Tips and Tricks training camp this Saturday.
You guys don't understand. I would go to a store called Books A Million. This was a bookstore located in the mall, and I would duel other kids with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And if I would have had tips and tricks and new strategy back then, I could have dominated. I could have went to tournaments. I could have won world championships. I could not be going to work right now. You know, like Endless. I did not know about this. I am so mad. My future has been altered by not knowing about this show.
Beginning at 8/7 Central and Pacific on Kids WB.
In each segment, Yugi would spend some one-on-one time with different characters. And now we get the battle of the century as Yugi tries teaching Ash how to duel.
Time for more of Yugi's Duelin' Tips and Tricks training camp. Card choices.
All right, Ash, I've played a Magical Hats card. Now what card might you play?
Should I play Karibo?
No?
Yes.
What card would you play?
I guess not.
You have to think quickly in these
Magic
situations,
Hammer.
Ash.
Was this? Was it a magic card?
That's what I would play.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Stay tuned for more
Yeah,
of Yugi's
that works.
Duelin' Tips
That absolutely
and
works.
Tricks training camp right here on Kids WB.
Through the fire and flames.
Well, it was only part of a tutorial and Ash never even played a card, so I'm not sure if this counts as a win. But it's hilarious and actually has both of them acting in character. If Ash and Yugi actually met each other, I think they'd be friends and just really want to battle or duel each other for fun.
I don't think so, right? I think that both of them have this alpha mentality going on, and Ash isn't going to like Yugi because they're both the best at what they do. However, Yugi is a cheater, right? Like, I probably like Yu-Gi-Oh! More than I do Pokemon, but let's be real. Ash is legitimate OG top level. He's top G. He is the Andrew Tate of the Pokemon world. He is the top G, right? He's just always pulls a win through the power of friendship, but he digs deep down inside of himself and trusts his teammates, his Pokemons, right? So that's how Ash wins. Yugi relies on a pharaoh. He relies on someone else playing the game for him. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. Yugi is a cheater and would lose to Ash.
There was also the Halloween Duel of Screams, which actually ran for 2 years in a row, but it's hard to find any recordings of it. The one I did find was a camera in front of a TV screen, but hopefully that gets the point across. This was a tournament loosely inspired by Duel Monsters, where characters would face off against each other using cards of screaming children to create the scariest scream. Look, I know that sounds insane. And it is, but anyway, the tournament bracket works out in such a way that we get another duel between Ash and Yugi.
I would have loved to be a part of this.
Go Mario, go eat!
Wrong. My magic cloak card makes one of your cards disappear.
Huh?
Jack, go! Yugi wins.
My ears
Stay tuned.
are bleeding right now.
The final is just a scream away on Kids WB.
This time Yugi wins and even goes on
Yeah,
to
it
win
makes
the
sense. He
entire
is a
tournament.
duel
Might
master.
be rigged, but apparently he didn't win last year, so I think this is more to make up for that. But anyway, I guess we finally have our answer to the Pokemon vs Yu-Gi-Oh debate. Ash would beat Yugi in a Pokemon battle, but Yugi would beat Ash in a duel.
Makes
wow,
sense.
Both of
That
these
makes
anime
100%
have different
sense.
power scaling.
They're both
What a
the
surprise!
peak of
Though
their
it seems like as the
craft.
years went on, they either became more generic crossovers or Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh characters fell out in favor for distinctly Warner Brothers owned IP.
Sure.
And near the end of the programming block's run, there were even less crossover events. Nowadays, the Pokemon franchise keeps to itself except for Super Smash Bros. And the occasional Japanese-only promotion. Yu-Gi-Oh! Only crosses over with other properties that also originate from Shonen Jump. But I just want to say
That
that
would
that
make
means
sense.
because we have Goku, Naruto, and Deku in Fortnite, Yugi is not too far off. But for the few years we had, I am
I would love
so
to see
surprised
a
it all happened
Goku
on Kids
crossover
WB.
with Yu-Gi-Oh.
After taking a look at these crossover commercials, I think this was a major reason we often wanted to see these two franchises go at each other, because they were so closely related to each other in the US.
I just don't remember
Of course,
seeing
over
any
in
of this.
Japan, the anime were created by different studios and aired on.
And that makes sense, right? We as Americans, or I'm speaking for the American children that grew up watching this, we thought in our ignorance that these shows came from these same creators or whatever, because they were watered, well, I don't want to say watered down, but they were given to us back to back. So as a kid, you're thinking, oh, these are the same creators because we have never seen anything like this in our cartoons. Like, we grew up on Power Rangers and stuff like that, so this was very different from what we were used to growing up on. So yeah, you could easily assume that these two properties were very, very close to each other, but in reality, in Japan, they're very, very far from each other in universes and, or whatever you want to call them, just companies in
different
general.
channels. But in the rest of the world, they would air one right after another on the same station, and were both dubbed in English by 4Kids Entertainment. Because of this, they even shared voice actors. Dan Green voiced Yugi Muto and Professor Birch, as well as several other Pokemon characters, like friggin' Entei and the Iron Masked Marauder. Veronica Taylor played Ash Ketchum, of course, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, she was Carly Carmine. Eric Stewart.
And this makes sense too. I would imagine there's not a large amount of voice actors that act in these anime crossovers. So you probably are going to hear Ash Ketchum as someone else just because the voice is going to be similar in tone and pitch and all that good stuff that makes your voice unique to you. And there's probably not that big of a pool, especially back then. Holy crap, there probably wasn't very many.
Voiced Seto Kaiba and Brock, as well as James. Ted Lewis voiced Bakura and Jack Atlas,
and I bet
as well as
they're
Tracy
rich
Sketchit
now,
and Giovanni.
especially
Maddie
the
Blossom
lady that
voiced
plays
Solomon
Ash.
Muto and Meowth. Tara Sands played Mokuba Kaiba and Richie, as well as young Samuel Oak. Amy Birnbaum was Taya Gardner and Max. Those are just to name some of the main roles, but no doubt they shared even more voice actors. So the only time Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Really crossed over was thanks to 4Kids and Kids WB. I'll try to leave links to some playlists or compilations so that you can witness the pure insanity for yourself. But otherwise, it's
I would
so
love to
fun
go back
seek
and watch
these out
this.
and discover what's been preserved all these years.